The military police were off on their own, and they did their own thing, yeah.
Were you ever injured in combat?
No. The closest thing when I came to an injury, we had a missile. It's called a Frog 7. You can look them up. They're just a really, really big boomstick. They make a lot of noise. We had one go off about 500 yards from where we were at. It rang your ears for a while, dropped you to the ground, and that was about it.
What was your main ranking and what was your main job?
My main rank, I was a corporal, E4. And my job, I was a infantry team leader. You have, in the way the infantry hierarchy goes, you are a rifleman, assistant team leader, team leader. That's how you have 4-man teams. That's how the structure's broke down in them. And from there you have a squad leader who's in charge of 3 teams, 3 squads in a platoon, 3 platoons in a company, and it follows that 3 from there on up.
Was this
That's pretty much what they are, but I mean, it's one of those, we didn't see it, we just knew there was a great big boom, you know, we never even saw it coming in. And later on, they told us, yeah, it was a frog, you know, the investigators were out there, they figured out what it was. So that was my job. So I had 3 people underneath me in my team that I was more or less in control of them and their well-being and making sure they did what they needed to do.
What type of weapon did you use?
I carried an M16 with a M203 grenade launcher. It's a 40 millimeter grenade launcher, attaches underneath the barrel of the rifle.
Is it heavy?
It was heavy enough. That wasn't what was heavy. The 203 only weighed another 3 or 4 pounds, but you carried a vest that you put the rounds on, and you carried 40 rounds for it, and they were a pound apiece. So that was an extra 40 pounds on top of your flak jacket, on top of your deuce gear, which is your ammunition, your canteens, first aid, all that good stuff, plus your Alice pack, which is your backpack. So it was insult to injury. Yeah, it was a little bit of extra.
Can you tell us about your boot camp experiences? I'm sorry, I really like
Oh
boot
no,
camp.
boot camp. I tell you, if you want to see the closest thing to boot camp, watch the first 15 minutes of Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Honest to God, watch the first 15 minutes of it. That is as close to what I can give boot camp. There's a lot of stuff in it that you look back at it and it's flat out comical. At the time being, it was scary as hell. I mean, it was, you know, the first thing that goes through your mind, because I did boot camp in San Diego. You fly in, they bring you in, they put you on these yellow footsteps, that's where you stand. And you get on the bus, they drive you around for about 35 minutes. And finally, they get you to MCRD, Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego. Here's the catch though, you landed here. This is the airport. The Recruit Depot is a fence away from the airport. You ever fly into San Diego, look out your right side window, you'll see the boot camp depot right there. But they drive you around to disorient you. You get over there, it's the middle of the night, and they keep you up that whole first night. You're getting processed, you're getting your uniforms, you're getting everything done. And you step out the next morning and you look, and there's the airport, and you're thinking, man, if I'd known that, I could have made a run for it. But it's scary, but you get used to it real quick. And there's a lot of knowledge, a lot of things you learn in boot camp. It's a good, that's it, seriously. 15 minutes of Full Metal Jacket.
And a lot of movies, they have like a bell that wakes you up, or like
Yeah, like the trumpet.
Reveille,
trumpet.
yeah,
Do they
they-
have that there?
In boot camp, yes. Reveille was sounded at 5 a.m. In the Fleet Marine Corps, not so much. There was a Reveille sounded, but some got up at that point. It depended on what your job was. with infantry, you got up at then, your first formation was 7. You had between 5 and 7 to essentially get ready, go hit the chow hall, do what you needed to do. But yeah, in boot camp, 5 a.m., reveille sounded, and you were jumping up, getting dressed, and it was off to the races for the rest of the day. Yeah, there was always something going on.
What time did you normally go to bed?
9. You were busy from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m.
How many miles did you have to jog a day?
On physical fitness, it varied. The longest run that I went on in boot camp was, I think it was 5 miles on the beach. The physical fitness test the Marine Corps does is you need to do 80 sit-ups in less than 2 minutes, 30 pull-ups, and it's a 3-mile run, and it goes on a timing. If you get it in 18 minutes or less, you get 100 points on that. My best 3-mile run, I am a non-runner, was about 21 minutes. I did that once. I never even came close to that time a second.
What was your thoughts and feelings just coming home after all these experiences?
You know, at first I was very glad to get home. It's one of those, I don't want to be in the Marine Corps anymore. I don't want to do this. And literally within 6 months, I was seriously reconsidering going back in. But I changed my mind on it and decided not to. There's a lot of stuff you miss. I mean, it never leaves you, which is a good thing. I mean, as long as you draw on the experiences in the right way. Now, a friend of mine just retired out of the Army. The guy went down to North Carolina to sea. He got out one day after I did. I spent a few days up at his house in Pennsylvania before I came home from there. He went to re-enlist, and they weren't taking, the term I was used as retreads, they weren't taking prior enlisted at the time. They had kind of an overflow of people. So he went in the Army, and he just retired with, I'll say 25 or 26 years time in service. So, some people, him, and there's a few others I know that spent, 10, 12, 15 years themselves in. So a lot of people make a career out of it. Just wasn't going to be a career for me. I'm glad I did it though.
When you would go back into the Marine Corps, would you have to take like all the fitness tests and all that stuff again?
You did the physical fitness test on a annual or semi-annual basis. So you took that test in, but would I have to do like any training again? Probably not. I would have gotten myself back in shape, which I had let go quite a bit by then.
How is like the food choice different there to do?
The mess halls, it was a cafeteria style. You went in, you showed your ID, they wrote it down essentially, so they got credit, as far as for serving. And you had 2 lines. You had a regular line that was sit down and eat. The other was more or less grab and go, a takeout. And it wasn't bad. There was some choices. You looked at it and honestly wondered what it was, but for the most part, it was pretty good.
How did you adjust to like the time changes and everything?
On being in different places.
Yeah.
When I flew off to the Philippines is 13 hours, I want to say, ahead of us. So right now it's about midnight, 11 o'clock there tonight, somewhere around there. It took a few days to get used to it, but we were on ship. We took a ship to Mediterranean. We spent 6 months out there. When you went into a new time zone heading east, they took an hour off in the middle of the night. So that's how you went on that. Coming back, they added an hour to the middle of the day on you. So that's how they changed it. Just jet lag, you you, eventually got used to it.
Tell about the war you served in, please. Did you serve?
What about it?
I don't know.
The Gulf War, the whole thing started up. Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. I do remember when he did that because we were in on-duty battalion at the time. What that meant was we had to be ready to go. I mean, everything packed up and gone in 48 hours time. And when he went in, we thought we were going to be taking off. It looked pretty certain for a while that we had our gear, we were ready to load it on planes and head out. But we had a lot of information about what was going on with the other side. We knew what equipment they had. The biggest thing that concerned me was the mines. Hussein had a huge amount of mines, and he'd put minefields out essentially the whole length of the Kuwait, Saudi Arabia border. We came up with some very innovative ways of clearing those out, and they did them really quick, and it worked well. So once we got through there, the opposition, there wasn't really a lot because General Schwarzkopf, who was in charge of the entire theater, pretty much bombed them for 40 days and 40 nights. He just wiped out everything they had that he could possibly get a hold of, through data. And by the time we came in, there was resistance, but there wasn't a whole lot. We broke their will to fight. There was some of the stories, there were some interesting stories we had gotten from the intelligence people. They honestly believed, and I thought this was the biggest lie at first, but I'll give you the backstory. The Iraqi people, the army people, were being told that the Marines were 10 feet tall and had to kill an immediate member of their family to get in the service. And we're all saying, yeah, whatever, right, And this is rumor that's coming from people who are crossing the line, essentially defecting from the Iraqis. So we went in, and some of the people that we had taken as POWs, my one friend was searching them, and one of them was just this young kid, and I was standing, I'm holding point on him while he's searching, and he's looking, saying, Army? No, Marines. And I motioned for him to stand up, and he just crawled over to a ditch. He was certain we were just gonna shoot him on the spot. And it's like, these people actually believe this junk. I mean, that's a propaganda thing to learn off of that. Don't always believe what you're being told, especially if it sounds too good or bad to be true, because chances are it is. But it was an intimidating, it was scary. There's no other way to put that. I mean, you don't know what's going on. You're facing somebody who essentially their job is to keep you from getting there. But luckily we had enough confidence and enough intelligence in the generals that they softened them up a lot before we went in.
What day did your service end?
My service ended June 16th, 1991.
Did you have any, I don't know if this is too wide or anything, disagreements with anyone higher than you or anything?
Yes, but you had to be very careful on how you worded them, because you get an argument with your boss out here and you're fired. You get into an argument with the wrong person there, and you can't be fired. You're on a contract. You're there, but you can lose rank. You can lose money. You can go to the rig. There's all sorts of neat stuff. So yeah, you had to be you learned how to argue with respect, and you had to do that.
Do you have any more questions?
Yeah, we need to wrap this up. We need to wrap this up. It's almost time to go.
Wow,
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank
no
you for coming.
we can clap.
Don't stop, man.